Oh, look at the hey everybody! Look at the levels. What do I care about the levels?
I know. What do I care about?
Look at John Waby coming in with Love Shack from 1980. I'm big as a whale. This is Eugene and Dylan's Guitar Show. I'm Eugene Edwards over here. This is Dr. Dylan Calajura right over there.
Hey.
And you guys are coming in with your locations and your hellos and your song suggestions.
Make some noise real fast on your guitar.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch what I can do.
The string's gonna break. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Jesse was a friend. Keep going.
Yeah, I know he's been a good friend of mine. Lately, something strange is not hard to find. Jesse's got himself a girl and a cheating with that body, I just
You know the words. That's cool. So we'll talk about that one, but I think that's a very big 80s cover song. So we're picking up our theme here with the 80s and the cover band stuff. You know, I keep thinking to myself like, okay, I've got a wedding gig. And it's 80s themed.
That's right.
And
baby.
I gotta be ready. Like, what songs do I have to like think about and have it? And by the way, here's a quick question.
Go ahead.
Let's say you're playing a wedding. It's a cover gig, and it's
Right.
80s themed.
Okay.
You can only bring one guitar.
Oh, Strat.
Yeah, right.
Strat.
No, by the way, Strat
That's
with
a
the
no-brainer.
humbucker in the tail would be my pretty much what.
We used to call those. So we would call those like super Strats.
Oh yeah,
But it
I like SSH. The
SSH.
single coil humbucker. I think.
But the thing that we did was
Strat.
Yeah, that one. We used to, so we would put what's called a Seymour Duncan hot rail in the 3 single coil.
So does everybody know what that is?
Now I know what you guys are thinking. If you're around in the 80s, you might be thinking
Not
this
that
is
kind of
something
hot
with the
rail.
nose.
No,
It's
no.
not- the nose is not involved.
That's right. R.I.P.
Okay?
Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
No, so the hot rail. No, correct me if I'm wrong. Seymour Duncan had made it's a humbucker
It's a humbucker.
pickup,
Yep.
but
The size of a single coil
instead of being stacked this way, like these,
Yeah.
they're like on top of each other, right?
They're
Is that
just tiny. They're
or
just
they're just
tiny. They're
wicked
round,
tiny?
really tight, and they
so?
make it tight,
Okay,
yeah.
so it looks like a single coil,
Yes.
but it's actually performing
It
as
fits
a
in the
humbucker.
size of a single coil.
It's a pretty smart idea there,
Yeah.
Seymour.
And it wasn't that hot compared to some other pickups.
Oh, really?
I think well that one was, but they had something called a little mini bucker that was less hot, and
Okay.
and we can read into that as you will. I mean, but we would also add piezo pickups to all of our Strats.
Why?
back then. So you could do the acoustic parts.
Wow.
And so I would use an A/B switch and
Really?
and go to the PA for acoustic stuff,
Oh,
and then come back
Lord.
to the amp for the electric. Dude,
There's a
it was,
lot of thinking
this
involved.
was
By the way, now, today we're not going to go that long today. I mean, we'll go, or maybe, but because I'm going to go see a movie, a couple of movies tonight, 7:30. We're going to do a 3-hour show. I'm going to go see at my local theater in Eagle Rock at Vidiots, which is this really cool theater where
Don't be
they
a
play old
idiot.
movies. But they're playing the D.A. Pennebaker footage of Jimi Hendrix and Otis Redding's set at the Monterey Pop Festival.
okay.
from
I thought you meant the guy
1967.
that jumped out of the plane with the money.
No, that's D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper
Yeah.
footage.
No,
that would be different.
D.A. Pennebaker was a great documentarian. And by the way, a little quick moment about documentaries lately. There's someone in the band, in the Dwight band, actually 2 people, who's constantly asking me, even though I've done huge rants about how much of my language,
Oh.
how useless Netflix documentaries
Oh, wow.
are. Just
Okay. This is gonna
documentaries in
go
general.
there. I told you to be contentious. I promised you that.
He just meant that we'd be providing content, but I'll make it contentious. And hey, did you see the documentary on fill in the blank? And my answer is always no. I'm always saying no. And those answers are really good. It's really good. It's really good.
Do you feel like they're the Star
It's
Journal
really good.
equivalent?
How many times do you have people who's like, oh, but it's really good. What that means is you walked away feeling like
You felt something.
I'm really a fan of fill in the blank.
Or I have a handle on this topic.
Because you just watched an hour to 90 minutes of
A biased.
of a
narrative.
worship piece.
Yeah. Or
These
opposite.
No.
Could be a hit piece.
How many of
The Diddy one isn't out yet.
so the idea here is take a look at who produced this thing. This happening a lot in sports too.
What are we talking about?
A lot of documentaries, a lot of behind the scenes looks, a lot of inside.
He's talking about the movie he's going to, guys. Just so you know.
It's really I didn't know this about so and so and this. That was really impressive. Yeah, because the subject is one of the producers of the thing you just saw. What do you think they're going to say?
This is very tangential.
Now, what D.A. Pennebaker, whether it's the Bob Dylan "Don't Look Back" documentary he made, or the
Cooper.
one on the Monterey, he made a lot of great documentaries. There's no talking heads, not the band, but no people trying to provide context and telling you
pop-up bubbles.
Nope, not trying to tell you how special what you're seeing is. Boop. Not trying to tell you how historic this is.
Boop. Eugene uses Pantene products.
Duke Cannon, actually. I'm ready for the sponsorship, Duke. Proceeds go to the veterans. Yeah. I swear to God. So he just runs the footage. Because guess what? I don't need someone to tell me that Jimi Hendrix and Otis Redding were magnificent.
Don't tell me that.
I could just watch and listen to them. They speak for themselves. You dig? So,
but that is contentious, you guys. Now hold on. So let's answer some of these questions.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay.
So the guy that made that extremely long O.J. Simpson documentary, I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm sorry, sir.
Kevin Stover Pockets.
Not it.
Okay.
He maybe some of you know this. He was given access to Prince's vault. Oh, Prince, the artist Prince.
Okay.
The human, formerly known as Prince.
Okay.
So all the footage, all the recordings, just everything, he was getting access to it.
Yeah.
And he makes like a massive documentary about Prince. It's like some say 7 hours long. It's gonna have to be a multi thing, right? Now it's very, very, very involved, and it's very flattering. It's also very non-flattering.
Wow.
He's speaking to ex-girlfriends, band members. This guy really gets in the nitty-gritty of Prince's childhood. Okay. Just some dark stuff that happened to Prince when he was a kid, and he ended up doing dark stuff to other people once he was in power. This happens.
The Rick James stuff is pretty dark too.
It doesn't take away from how magnificent he is as an artist, and the documentary also encompasses that. Well, by the time he's done with this thing, and Netflix is the one who's saying, like, hey, have at it and we'll put it out, blah, blah, blah. Then Prince's estate, essentially, a couple of his siblings,
said, hell to
one
the no.
particular lawyer said, no way.
Wow.
You need to make this much more flattering, get rid of this stuff. Yeah. And the director says, that's not a documentary.
Yeah, that's
Netflix sided with
puff piece.
Netflix sided with a family, and we'll never see it.
Well, so never is in not this fiscal quarter.
So the idea here is that, just kind of watch it with the shitty documentaries. Us to
one of our biggest 80s songs.
But yes, it does. Now let's go back. I timed the coffee with that.
Or...
Wait, is that 80s or was it? It's on the first
1980.
Oh, it's right on the money.
Don't want to pressure you, baby.
Or you hit a B flat. No, hit a B flat. Add 9.
I did, yeah. Oh, in that song?
No, not in that song.
I did it.
Another 80s song. Another one.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm out of tune. Sorry. Wait, I tuned this before we started.
But
But yes, a Strat for sure. You take.
I would say so.
See, when we started this, we started with the 60s. I would think like a Telly's a pretty good approximation of most of the guitar. You can cover.
You can get away with
70s.
Tweener.
Maybe a Les Paul.
You can do a Les Paul in the 70s. But here's why I think it's a Strat.
But the 80s, boy, there's no question.
By the time the 80s come around, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Rapper's Delight has been out. Mm-hmm. Chic is out. Sly and the Family Stone is long gone out.
Nile Rodgers is the big
So you've got
here.
like the sort of hip-hop revolution mixed with funk. George Clinton is on the scene. obviously the Jackson 5s has completely, obliterated the earth in terms of popularity.
I mean, play that lick, the Billie Jean lick.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a
Oh.
And I can't remember who played that. I don't think it's Lukather. If it is, but they're clearly kind of like doing an Al Rodgers thing at that
Paul
point.
Jackson Jr.
Paul Jackson Jr.
Yeah,
that's right.
And Yngwie Malmsteen was big in the 80s. Thank you, Jim. Now,
that gets
funny
requested
story, I have
a lot
not
of cover gigs
been asked to play any Yngwie at a gig yet.
But guess who's ready? Guess who has 2 thumbs and is ready?
And I think that is, I find that actually to be offensive, that's never happened yet. So I've never been asked for any Paganini.
No Niccolo Paganini.
No.
Very great
No Caprice. Nothing.
Yep.
This is Sean. Thank you for noticing. This is a super strat. So this is John Suhr was a builder at Fender for a very long time. And I think one thing that everybody's going to notice is all the offshoot popular guitars that are Strat adjacent are former Fender builders. So
true.
They learned and honed, and maybe Fender's called the working man's guitar or whatever. And so maybe they took what they wanted and left the rest. And they built the guitars for doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs, and you're looking at them right here. And these used to be really expensive. So this one's very old.
They were originally they were called, at first they were Pensa Suhr.
Pensa Suhr.
Because Pensa was the guy who owned Manny's in New York. They went into business together. And that's what, like Mark Knopfler very famously in the 80s.
Had a Pensa Suhr.
He wasn't playing Fender Strats anymore. He was playing Pensa Suhr.
And I think he was still a builder at Fender at that time.
Oh my God, that's intense.
Yeah, so there was a bit of this, the old one too.
Yeah.
But Paul Reed Smith. I mean, go down the list, you guys. Like, look up the backgrounds of these folks.
Yeah.
But anyways, so this has something called it's not a kill switch, but if you had this pickup off, it would be a kill switch.
Which pickup off?
The bridge pickup.
So turn off the bridge pickup.
Well, what it does is wherever you are, let's say you're here.
What are you doing? You're all over
I'm
the
on
place.
the neck pickup. I'm in the out of phase. As soon as I
whoa, you hit a little button.
I go straight to here, full volume, blow your face off. So you could be.
Whoa! Time for hot lead. Now go back to your rhythm part really fast. Dylan, I need you to take the lead right now. Go back to rhythm.
So it's really a way for me to do the job that people don't want to do, I guess. It was just like it sort of forced me into a guitar work labor camp, if you will.
That's right.
And it's really unfair, actually, now that I think about it.
But yeah, the word camp has a lot of range, doesn't it?
Yeah, because camps. Well,
Summer
and that brings
camps are
me
fun.
to another one of our songs.
Labor camps,
here.
not so much.
So, because you can camp out and do. That's
pride and joy, especially we start the intro. Again, you need a Strat for that one. I mean, you got to bring the right.
You show up at a gig with a Les Paul and play this.
It's just like towards the beginning of Pulp Fiction when Jules and Vincent
are doing the.
That's not
way later in the movie,
that's Vincent and Mia.
Yeah.
No, but they say how many guys are in there? They pull up to the apartment houses. I think there's 4 plus our guy, and he goes, we should have brought shotguns to this.
That's
gig.
right.
And sometimes you just don't bring the right gun to the gig.
I never brought Les Pauls.
I had a contentious last Wednesday. I did. Remember, we did the show here, and then I was going to do my night at Harvard and Stone.
Yeah.
So I take the same gear I take every time.
Right.
A deluxe, a 65 reissue deluxe, telly, little pedal board. But it's a different sound guy.
Oh.
And it was just a bad night.
I came by his show, by the way.
Oh yeah, you were
I
there.
was there
you
for
by.
about a half an hour.
The guy kept telling me to turn down. I said,
it wasn't that loud.
It's set where it said. His thing was, well, I can't put it in the mains.
Good.
So
don't put it in the mains. I don't care.
If the room's hearing the guitar, that's the point.
How do I add energy from the mains to the band?
But then he wouldn't put my vocal in the stage monitors.
Oh, is that reciprocal tariffs on your vocal?
He said he couldn't put my. He told someone. He told the promoter, I physically can't put his voice in the monitors because the guitar's so loud.
So explain to me.
No logic whatsoever.
Using Newton's laws.
No logic.
How that.
So yeah, this sound guy was not a Royale with cheese. I'll tell you that right now. Now, no, back to the 80s cover songs.
Okay, so Pride and Joy is a big one, you guys, and that getting all that down and being able to.
No, that's a different Stevie song.
Oh, you're right. That's another one.
That's Crossfire.
But that's a really.
But you should learn it anyway. Gosh.
How about
You're hot.
And
man.
who could forget this classic?
Okay, so right. Do you know much of the solo?
Go ahead. You want to take it? One,
No,
two, 3, 4. Something like that.
Okay, so played by Neil Girardo.
Who was a
He was a great
Fantastic.
player,
Great writer, too.
great writer, a big
Yeah.
part of Pat's success. Now so they recorded that at Sound City Studios in Van Nuys off of Roscoe Boulevard.
Really?
Yes.
That's not there anymore.
No, but
Yeah.
but Eric Chaz's guitar repair is, and that's where I get my stuff worked on. Sorry about that.
Not the mics. The mics are
so I still go to
elsewhere.
that building all the time.
Yeah.
Now, so he's set up in one
Yeah.
studio, and they're making that album, right?
Right.
And he's got his gear set up. Now, down the hall,
Right.
a man named Rick Springfield is making his record.
This is how he's tying
Working
it
class.
in. Do you see how he's tying it in?
And they've got this great song. Now it needs a solo. So Rick has already played the rhythm parts himself. And Rick's like not that confident of a lead player. Says, I really want a big rock solo. So they Neil's down the hallway. They take the tapes. They come down the hall. They put it on that machine, and Neil Girardo, it's the same guy, it's the same rig as Hit Me With Your Best Shot. And Neil says, play those two solos back to back, and they're cut within a day or two of each other. And this bridge is really great. So everyone likes to start Jesse's Girl because it's just those power chords and we recognize it right. But then you get to this middle 8 where we really separate the middle 8. Stop. Let's just talk about what's going on there.
Yeah, so we have basically a flat 7. I'm sorry, 4 that's in the root the whole time. So that's called a pedal tone in the bass, which is a really cool
So
thing.
the G's just going to stay there the whole time.
Jim says Pat Benatar was born a town over for me growing up.
So you have a G, but then an A over G.
Yeah, which is like A7 with G in the bass.
Really hit. So the tension that Rick builds in this, it's a really well-written song. It's a great song. It's a really, really hip thing. And the keyboard's doing it an octave.
Yeah, it's doing
You're hearing that? You got to get that right. It's really, really great.
Wondered why they don't see me. I've been funny, I've been cool with the lines. Ain't that the way I'm supposed to? Yeah.
Then a quick key change,
To F sharp, unexplained. We call that a direct modulation.
but it's using the rhythm though that we heard earlier
Right.
in the chorus. So that's what a great steal that idea.
Here's your solo.
Now we're back to I don't actually no, I forgot. Okay, so yeah, so it has this really, really great. Neil does this really great chromatic
It's a
move.
pretty good solo, actually.
That
Yeah.
I love that move, and then the just really, really smart stepwise motion in there. Just study. And by the way, look at but my point is, watch the video to Jesse's Girl, because Neil's not in it.
He's not.
But Rick and his band are, and Rick watched during the
He
guitar
mimes
solo
it?
perfectly.
Yeah.
Rick learned.
He learned it.
I know. I'm assuming. I have to
Give him credit.
I have to ask around. I don't know if Rick had a lead guitar player for the tour. I assume he would.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe Rick just played the solo
No,
live.
he got another guitar. Come on.
I'm just watch the video though, because Rick knows it. Because especially like he even does the chromatic. then he doesn't move. Anyway, really, really impressed by Rick Springfield for like miming it properly to this little boy that was watching on MTV with this like Ovation acoustic trying to learn everything. It was an applause, not even an ovation.
There's one up here. Smoke in your voice.
Love that lick, by the way.
It's really good, man.
Get that little half step motion.
That's right.
Now, what's really interesting about this song is the chord progression. It's a little tough to decide. Of course, it never matters. What key is this thing in?
It's an A.
But with a B major. That's the cool thing. It's got this, but the two's not acting as a secondary dominant.
Well, so wait a minute. It goes to C
F
sharp
sharp,
minor, so it goes,
not to the bridge.
but that could give you an idea that it might be an E.
So we have F sharp
relative
minor, D major, A major, B major.
I think it's an A. Yeah, because
That's how you would end the song?
Well, no. It's just that I think the song it's in either the relative major or minor of A. So like A or F sharp minor.
That's what's really cool about that. Like it can just, it's like it doesn't want to resolve. It's just this really cool.
And this is not a very good, like, so if I say, hey guys, people that have done guitar, play something in F.
Who are you addressing?
I don't even know.
How about hey guitar players? Like, let me edit that for you.
Hey guys, people that have done guitar, play an F sharp minor. Like your lick is not going to be. That's not going to be your idea. I'm just telling you right now. Because this is like a B minor 11 type of idea.
But the chord, but it does match the chords just
Yes,
perfectly. A, D, F sharp, A and F sharp minor share
So
the thing.
Elaine says Tim Pierce. Is that who played on Tommy Two-Tone?
I don't know. She just says Tim Pierce.
Well, Tim Pierce is all over the place on a lot of this.
You know,
so,
he knows Tim Pierce. Eileen, can you explain yourself, please? To what non sequitur are you? You're probably answering one of our non sequiturs.
I think so.
So I just don't know. Did Tim play lead for Rick Springfield on the road?
Oh, that's a good point. I think Eileen's saying Tim Pierce is all over a bunch of these, which is definitely the case.
I ran. Okay.
Because I run. I think that's what it is. Or you're thinking of the nation of Iran.
Which is Iran. We would have pronounced that differently. Yeah. Iran by Flock of Seagulls has a really, really really great guitar. I love that.
Yeah. Judicious use of delay. You know? And oddly enough, you know what, you guys? You don't hear cover bands play that enough. You hear maybe kind of like 80s specific tributes play that, but you don't hear cover bands in bars doing that all the time. So, can I also say something else? You don't hear a lot of Culture Club out of cover bands in bars, and
that's a shame. I'll tell you what.
A shame.
Do You Really Want to Hurt Me is a groove, baby.
Yeah,
and if you got a great singer, just do it. You have to have a great harmonica player for that,
though. You got to get a harmonica player out. Oh,
Look how fast he switched.
That's actually not one we played. We played.
See that one. I actually prefer that one much more. What's the
horn solo? That is so great, isn't that right? I was a huge
more of that little chromatic move, just like in Jesse's Girl. Chris, what's his nose?
My
from the
grandma
news.
had the sports album. That's right. Same grandma that taught me how to smoke had the sports album, and I told you I played that thing until the wheels came off. The odometer literally turned over on that.
Here's another. We did this one last Wednesday. One of my guest singers did "I Love Rock and Roll" by Joan Jett.
This is a great. This always
now
works.
I had never played it like on stage before. I know it in my bones so well, and when I played the guitar solo, there's something that I never really thought about it.
You want to go? Here, I'll be the snare drum.
Well, yeah, first it starts with basically like a cool country move. So first of all, there's that. It's kind of like the turn it on, turn it up, turn it loose thing, but with heavy distortion.
Know,
and then
awesome.
this dominant seven, this E, and then it straightens it. Right here. So stop.
Oh, this
so
walk down?
you hit an A major.
Yeah.
Now the player is going to walk down the E major scale. So we're pretty much doing E minor pentatonic for this whole song. But then in this one moment, over an A major, there's an E, there's a D sharp.
2, 3, 4.
So it's such a great pop hook thing to do, to mix the minor with the major right there is so melodic. It really, really makes it a proper pop song. In that way, I've just been captivated by that lately. You can't cover the 80s without playing.
Oh. We used to do
Oh, you have to teach that to me.
so it's just that
Because a buddy of mine keeps asking me to learn that.
so if you just have that part and that in. Start the timer. Good. So far so good. This is the agility and this particular round of frisbee golf. I can't remember what the open dog training.
I'm distracted because I don't know what Tim Pierce has to do with anything.
No. I think Tim Pierce is all. But hold on. So let's go through these.
Oh yeah, you're right. We should just go back to
But
the.
hold on. The Eddie Money is absolutely. We used to play that stuff all the time.
You've actually did a couple of gigs with Eddie.
Right.
Well, it's funny because we would in the 70s
Shaken.
At a 70s cover gig we would have done Baby Hold On to Me or and the other great one, Two Tickets to Paradise. But then he had all these hits in the 80s like Shaking and Take Me Home Tonight.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite.
Now, My Sharona.
So you guys, can we pause for a second? My Sharona is actually a heavy, badass song. So
That guitar playing is
if
insane.
you hear that song, like go back and listen to that, and you're like, this is almost like metal. It's so.
But then and power pop as well. So the what's it? No, that's Mickey. You're So Fine.
See, I get those mixed up a lot too. You're right.
It's
You're
like
right.
G minor pentatonic.
But it's killing.
But then it goes up to that major key thing. Oh shit!
So you. I mean, this one is.
But that
this
guitar
one's
player
great.
is just going off that.
Absolutely.
So it's really, really well
It was
composed. Don't Stop Believing. Right. So then you get your guitar, get a chord melody version of the of the piano part that Jonathan Kane normally plays. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, there's that, and then there's always that. If you don't have I've been caught playing this on bar gigs. In the first verse, yeah. You don't use a volume pedal? You just kind of just use a palm mute and get up there?
Yeah, I start like. turn out my volume somewhere along the way. Like,
Yeah, that's
way.
Yeah, I mean,
not
imagine,
easy,
imagine doing it on a telly. Like
It's
I'm
not
just
great.
sitting there with a telly and a deluxe.
And they're like, well, it was good.
Yeah. No one ever covers my truly favorite music from that decade. Anything. Oh, Paul Simon's Graceland.
Yeah.
Then there's Peter Gabriel. So, we were talking about Peter Gabriel.
We had Peter Gabriel on the list.
10,000 Maniacs. The In My Tribe album. Actually, when I was in high school, we did do that one.
Was 10,000 Maniacs. So they breach into the 90s.
Yeah, but their first two albums were in the 80s.
Yeah.
The biggest selling one was
in the 90s.
Our Time in Eden, came out in 1990. 1992. Because
I had that on tape.
I saw them at Carnegie Hall that September.
Oh, wow.
With Max Weinberg on drums.
Wow.
Because their drummer had broken his shoulder in a bicycle accident.
And so, you know what?
And Michael Pend opened. Talking about the 80s.
They kind of fizzled out, or what happened?
Well, no, Natalie went solo.
Oh, and that's the what's the song that she did after that?
Give them, not give them what they want, because that was officially 10,000 Maniacs. What do we? This is like one of those pop-up
we're
shows
really
now.
getting tangential.
Yeah. I'll get back to you on that. Point is, 10,000 Maniacs had a song called "What's the Matter Here?" Really, really moving song about child abuse, and it had the it had this really tricky.
That's actually how the song starts.
Oh, this is it.
It has all. Oh, cool.
If you don't shit in your chest, Ray, I'll take this belt from around my way. I remember learning that as a teenager, and I was really, really into like figuring that stuff out. That was really good. Paul Simon's Graceland. You're right.
Think about the monumentous amount that's in that album.
The amount of instruments and vocals.
And the
tough to pull off. But if a band with a horn section did kick into "You Call Me Al," dude, I'd be on that dance floor.
We used to cover that on a cruise ship that I played on, and but we had a bunch of Indonesian keyboard players that were in the band. The whole band was from Indonesia, minus me.
Were they keyboardists that played? The keyboards were made in Indonesia?
No, the actual individuals were.
Gotcha.
Yeah. True story. REM. So Talking Heads, definitely we played. REM. You know, I don't think the only song I've ever covered by REM was what's the one in 6/8 or 12/8?
Everybody Hurts.
Everybody Hurts. And it
probably
was
not at a wedding.
At a wedding or something.
It was. Oh my! Because you're not going to hear this one goes out to the one I love either.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the other thing. The audience that wants to dance to that, then they're out there, by the way. But it's kind of more like a festival outdoor type of thing that you could do that. So a lot of this stuff we did was in bars. It was like seedier. REM is kind of not. It's not a seedy thing at all. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel that way. Los
Lobos. I wish.
Obviously,
their cover of La Bamba was a #1 hit. So that one,
right.
It's tricky. That's originally like a 1958 record, but I think pretty much.
Is that the one on Cocktails?
What? Talking Heads. Now that should be a bigger one because their stuff is so danceable. I know I've talked about this a lot. What Talking Heads did better than anyone coming out of the New York City punk scene, the CBGB thing.
Yeah, they crossed over.
Well, Blondie did it too, but Talking Heads addressed the dance floor. Yeah. They just got funkier and funkier and more danceable as the years went on. So
that's David, when you think about it.
And Tina and Jerry, like they got Bernie Worrell to come in, and they just really, really got more into the funky side of it. Because when Tina and Jerry, they formed the Tom Tom Club on the side. So they have dance hits on their own.
Right.
In fact, the Tom Tom Club, Gangster Love, that one, that should be a wedding song.
So
right there.
Tom, you've said the song that I have played enough times to so Love Shack. Actually, can we talk about Love Shack for a second?
I think we should.
This is actually not that easy to do really well in a band. Most bands that cover that song, they don't do it any justice at all.
Okay, so why do you think this is?
Well, I think it's because they take a very cursory look at it and go, I got it. And it's like, all right. Okay, but there's a lot of stops in that song. There's a lot of like instrumentation, secondary contrafact lines going on.
The horns are here, no, they're not there.
There's like all kinds of stuff.
The girl switching off vocals with Fred.
16 fries at the...
and then the girl's got to come in at the right time.
And like, this is not easy to cover at all. So the people that are actually good at covering this song, it dwindles down. So Love Shack covered well, awesome. Love Shack not covered very well.
That's an interesting
The
category.
Love is Vacant. Yeah.
Oh, I've played Orange Crush. Stacey Brooks, very cool. I love that album, by the way, that REM album. I'm a huge REM fan. I'm just saying.
I really am too. I
wish bands, 80 cover bands. I guess I keep thinking weddings. But if you're doing a club gig, 80s cover stuff, go ahead and lay down some REM because that group has such a massive influence on that decade.
Shiny Happy People works to a 4 on the floor beat. It works to and there's just it's just got a great Michael Stipe is also just awesome, by the way. I mean, there's that, but the whole band was really great. You know, so tangent story here. One of the chief sort of architect, engineers, idea guys behind Fender Play was a huge REM fan, and that's why there's so much REM on Fender Play, and that individual still is a huge REM fan. And so like we got to meet people from REM. It was amazing, and they're obviously a fantastic band. So, ZZ Top.
So I guess Sharp Dressed Man
is Flamengo, or what's it called?
Fandango. That's in the 70s. So
that's 70s.
So really Eliminator comes out in 83, and that's really the ZZ Top 80s thing.
And they were doing the disco thing for a second, is what that really was, right?
It's brilliant. It's really brilliant. Billy Gibbons sees the dance revolution. I mean, he's a fan of Prince. He's a fan of all this stuff, and he sees that this dance floor thing. Yeah, this is a post-disco moment. He's like, God. Boy, and he really gets involved with drum machines.
Is it a post-disco moment?
Well, they're making Eliminator in 82, 83. So so disco. I mean, Saturday Night Fever is now 5 years old. Yeah, and you understand when I say post-disco?
Disco is dead.
Well, no, that was Comiskey Park 79, around there.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying that any rock musician who's really paying attention, realize, look, man, you can burn the fly collar and the polyester suit and stuff.
Sure.
But danceable music is going to dominate.
It's going to dominate.
So the right bands, Talking Heads, ZZ Top.
We call that adaptation and evolution.
So even Springsteen for Dancing in the Dark, we're like, okay, I need a snare tuned like Stuart Copeland's. Sure. I need to get a choreographer to teach me how to dance for at least one video. So like, I need a big pop hit, and they match the BPM to I don't know what record, but. The rockers kind of started to like pay attention, and ZZ Top was no different. Now they also made very, very clever videos, featured girls and cars. They kind of went with classic stuff, but
in a new.
But Sharp Dressed Man is in C.
Is it in C?
So we're really going to C minor pentatonic blues thing anyway, right? But the groove of it, it's not like a loose Texas shuffle anymore. It's this really on the grid thing, right? And then Legs is another great in E.
So this song is the ultimate 16th note straight feel groove. If you ever, I mean, I would say that's something to really run after. Legs is a really good one. There's something we got to get out of here. Where's that? Where's the one that's on there?
What?
I'm seeing a bunch. It's back up. We missed it. Oh, darn it. See, there's so many good ones people are
Peter Gabriel's So album also having Sledgehammer. Again, how great is that thing on the dance floor?
Sledgehammer's got to be one of the best
massive record
songs ever written.
And it's one of those things where they were done for the day. And Tony Levin tells a story because he's on bass on that session, and Manu Katché's on drums. Although they don't use his hi-hat, Stuart Copeland comes in and overdubs a hi-hat later.
Stuart Copeland was just everywhere. He was like the Musk of the period.
But Tony Levin remembers like they're walking out to the cars, and Peter says, anybody have like an extra minute? And Peter's just got this old 60s soul thing in his head. Mm-hmm. And he's just kind of singing this groove, the tempo and the groove, kind of singing out that horn part. Yeah. So they just lay that rhythm track with Peter just kind of like making stuff up. And then they build this track. It's so hip. Yeah, again, really and it really is kind of like a 60s soul thing, but clearly produced with like the height of 80s technology.
Digital,
right. But those are like musicians playing a groove. Yeah. Really experienced musicians playing a groove
without Pro Tools,
and just an incredible singer with this incredible double entendre lyric going on, and it's timeless. Somebody asked Natalie Merchant out a few times, and she turned him down. I'm not naming names, but he named himself there.
You asked Natalie Merchant out a few times?
Why not?
Wow.
Jim was probably living up there in Woodstock. Took a shot. Why not? If I were near her, I'd try to ask her out. Why wouldn't we?
I think I would be afraid to do that. Sean learned to play Sharp Dressed Man. 6 string. Man, you can't. You have to play the song. Now, this original key is really high, though. Anyways, you get the idea.
And that's got a... Wait, what's the bridge go to? Oh, yeah. So it goes to F major, 1, 4, 5, 4, back to the 1. C, stay on the C, then back to D. Eileen's calling out my favorite song so far. So I used to do this one. So,
Can't see it. Oh, Stray Cat Strut? Oh, no.
Love can make you weep, make you run for cover. Something So Strong by Crowd House.
Oh.
It's a bittersweet, like a lover God.
You got... Eileen's doing...
Something so strong, couldn't carry
Those are deep cuts.
us away. But here's one. Speaking of that band, one chord and people know it immediately.
That was kind of scary. Because it's so courageous. So you could play
It's
that
an
on the
E
day.
flat.
People would get down to that.
Oh. It's funny. So the band, they cut that around the corner here from Capitol Studios.
Which
And
is currently not in operation.
not in operation. But so these guys, obviously, this was the ashes of Split Ends, which was a New Zealand, not even Australian, a New Zealand band. But 3 of those guys kind of come over here, and while they're making the record, they're very far from home. They put them up at the Oakwoods,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's an apartment down the street where
Place
usually
to get tetanus.
a lot of actors and musicians get put there temporarily. And so they're making but it's a quick little jaunt down Cahuenga, and you go over to Vine.
There's an
and you're
Australian
there.
band that had a huge
I'm telling
hit.
a story.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so
see
they're making
that?
the record, and the label keeps asking, everything sounds fine. How you guys get along? Is everything okay at the apartment?
right.
And they're like, well, it's a bit of a crowded house.
Yeah, sure.
And that's how they got their name.
You would have hoped the story might be.
He nearly killed the story by interrupting. Did you
than
see
that,
everybody?
though. You know
See
what
how
I
he
mean? You
treats
would
me?
have hoped-
Okay, what were you
And
going to say?
you would hope it had been like the part in the movie As Good as It Gets, where he goes, and that's as good as it gets. And you're like, so it's like,
Oh,
Australian bands.
no, they're Canadian.
Canadian bands, that's what I meant. Did I say Australian?
Yes, he did.
Use the second date.
Oh, Dylan, you missed the Clashes. Should I say or should I go?
So, you know what? We actually eventually stopped playing that because it made people get violent at times.
As the Clash
The
should.
Clash will make, at the end of, so these are, we could almost separate this to like songs you play at different points in the evening. So by 1:30, and we used to have to play till 2 a lot of times. If you head over to the Losers Lounge in Laughlin, you might play till 5.
Oh.
But anyways, think about who's still left at the bar at 1:30. So you have the guys that were always just there to fight, right? That was what they were there. They were drinking enough to get to the point where they could fight comfortably. And then you have other odds and ends. And so that's when you would call a song like that a lot of times, because that's the type of.
It's just, that's who's going to be. Yeah,
and
it's
guess
just.
what happens during that?
People lose teeth.
People lose.
So I've got one. So this is one I love to talk about here. Drunkle Bob, man. I love Drunkle. So we're with This is not. It's a Hammond. It's a Hammond organ dominated song, but the chord changes on the thing are.
If you want to learn a lot of chords, this is a good song to learn.
So we got this A blues thing, right, with a flat 7. This walk down.
This is an American band, right? Or are they
British?
Yeah, that's.
But then it goes to D major. I bought a toothbrush, some toothpaste, a flannel for my face, 2 minor commas, a hairbrush, minor 4, 2 shoes and a case. Now B minor. To my reflection, let's get out of this place. G major, A, D, E major, E major, G major. Back to B. Billboards and the buildings.
That's like B major at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then this. Still keep calling.
That was the approach chord.
And calling. But forget it all. I know I will. Tempted by the fruit of another. So this thing, as I say, has more changes than a dressing room.
I think some of those are gospel changes.
Very, very. Now, here's the cool thing. So obviously, Elvis Costello was one of the producers on that record. So in verse 2, this is a little trivia for you guys.
Wow.
So in verse 2, we have Paul Carrick singing lead on this thing so far. We know Paul's voice at that point from the great hit by the one-hit wonders Ace. How long has this been going on? Oh, wow. Paul Carrick was the singer in that band. Then he gets... We need a keyboard player for this record and this tour. Paul, can you do it? Sure.
Yeah.
They bring in this song, and Elvis Costello says, wow, this is kind of like a Blue-Eyed Soul thing. You know, Glenn, you're a great singer, but Paul really does Blue-Eyed Soul well. So they just handed it to Paul, and he nails it. Then in verse 2, what's been going on? Then we hear Glenn, the normal lead singer. I'm at the car park, the airport, the baggage carousel. Then Elvis Costello comes in baritone. But people keep on crying. Then Elvis Costello jumps up to falsetto. And wishing I was well. Back to Glenn. They said it's no occasion. Back to Costello in baritone. It's no story I can tell.
They had a lot of license back then.
Back to Paul. In my bedside empty pocket, a foot without a sock. Your body gets much closer. Fumbled for the clock. By the way, fumbled for the clock, alarmed by her seduction.
I think you guys, you need to read the lyrics to this song.
He doesn't say alarm clock. It's fumbled for the clock, alarmed. He gets clock and alarmed. He flips them.
Oh, wow.
It's brilliant. And so why are they switching voices randomly? Think of the title of the song.
Squeeze.
No, that's the band.
Sorry, Tempted.
Soul music. Temptations.
Oh.
Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Sure.
Ball of Confusion. Remember in the late 60s, early 70s, the Temptations were just switching singers, like characters that were just coming in and out. So they just had
the Jackson 5.
Let's do it. Let's do a Temptations thing where we just switch lead singers for no apparent reason. And they did.
Greg got me. Yeah, Outfield is from England. Sorry about that. So, like, a lot of these bands were from England. And I think...
Okay.
Oh, Def Leppard. See, we could do a whole episode just on the hair metal stuff from the 80s. There we go. So now, I actually hear cover bands do this now. I really didn't used to hear cover bands do this very much. So, guess what time this song is in?
6/8.
It's in 12/8.
Oh, 12/8. You're sorry. Yes, that's right. Great move right there, where the 4 sits over the 1, kind of nice.
And like, this is one of my favorite bands growing up.
So good.
But you didn't hear cover bands do this a lot because I think they didn't think people would dance for it. I don't know, but the truth is people go nuts for this song.
That guitar solo is so much better than it has to be, by the way, because this thing's a great record. No, that's the keyboard line.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's really smart composition.
When it goes into major,
but
the end of it. Oh yeah. The solo's great.
Oh, it's just I don't know. I haven't played it in years, but it's just like it just has these really interesting steps. And that band, they're really getting their due lately.
Yeah.
In the past 5 years, I think people are sort of like, whoa, these guys in these records.
It's like almost kind of a Journey status thing. So remember when everybody brought Journey to the point where you're like, okay, I guess we're going to be hearing Journey a lot. I think we're there with Tears for Fears now.
Probably. But the thing about Tears for, I remember I mentioned them recently where like they have the that Lydian.
Oh, from that song.
Head Over Heels.
Head Over Heels, sorry. Yeah.
And then it's like Lydian. It's going between B flat and C, but it has this E natural note, which makes it. But then it doesn't even resolve an F.
I know.
The na 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 na. Oh, it's so smart. It behaves in 3 different keys and is brilliant. And to be tuneful and catchy through the whole thing. Heart,
really tricky.
The band Heart, which started in the 70s, they had major 80s. No, that's 70s Heart.
70s, huh?
That's 70s Heart. No, that's show. That. Okay, I thought you were playing Sheryl Crow there for a second. He was.
Cause I'm saying,
hey guys, was that 70s or 80s? That one. I was thinking about These Dreams.
Oh, These Dreams.
Which is where the other sister, where Anne sings great, but no, how do I Get You Alone was great, but no, they had massive hits in the 80s too. Good for them. We should wrap this up. This has been 80s music is so much more intelligent than I realized. Well, yeah, okay, so Drunkle, if I may call you Drunkle,
why not?
So what's happening in the 80s is we still have the vestiges, if you will, of 60s harmony, like Motown, Beatle. Those harmonies were still there. Mm-hmm. So you had songwriters like Sting, the guys from Tears for Fears, the guys in Squeeze.
It's also very international at this point too.
Also, we've got Crowded House from New Zealand. British, we've got The Outfield, which I thought was from Canada.
Yeah.
But we got Bryan Adams. No. So yeah, we have Prince and we have Michael Jackson.
So Minnesota's represented.
We have Paul Simon and Peter Gabriel. Indiana. And we have these songwriting titans. But we're also like, everybody wants a big disco hit, basically. So, I mean, music's still happening, yes, on MTV, so we have to be visually arresting. And we haven't even talked about Madonna.
Well, I think we might have to do a second 80s episode.
All right, that's what we'll do.
To cover hair metal
let's put
and dance music.
You know what? The 80s is so huge.
It's that big, you guys. It was the cocaine. You know what I mean?
The Sheryl Crow thing was played by Wendy Wait, I'm lost.
Does that say... I gotta get glasses. Does that say melatonin?
No, it's no Mel Vaughn. That's Wendy from the Revolution.
Oh wow.
Her father was a LA session guy. She grew up in LA. She's a great rhythm guitar player.
I saw melatonin.
No, I don't.
I guess.
So the Prince thing does come full circle.
Yeah.
Let's continue this because I got to get home because I don't want to be late for my documentary, which is a real documentary, not some Netflix is a joke thing.
All right, well, here, we'll take it out.
Guess what? Guess who we're not going to get a deal with anytime soon for this show.
Next episode is going to have to be the specific genres of, we didn't cover any hair metal. We didn't cover any real like hard rock from the 80s. And you got to admit, I mean, it's kind of...
No, you're absolutely right.
The biggest thing that happened in the 80s. You know what I mean?
What, hair metal?
No, just like, well, I guess maybe... Well, that's tough. The 80s is just so filled with so much music.
It's a lot of content. Yeah. I mean, it is, I would make a case that it is...
and the publicity of it is huge.
Well, part of what's happening...
We didn't do Michael Jackson either.
MTV is so massive in this moment. Because, God, where do we start? So the Beatles invade America, and they teach, wait a minute, you could make like lots of money and have lots of influence if you're a rock band. Because before that wasn't the case.
Right.
So we learned that in the 60s, and Motown and the Stones and all that stuff teaches us. Then in the 70s, by the mid-70s in particular, it becomes a big business.
It's a business.
Huge business.
Big money.
Big arenas, the tours, private jets, the excess of everything. No.
I was thinking.
We'll play them both at the same time. No, anyway. But then at the end of the 70s, rock starts to actually go into the doldrums a little bit by sales. John Bonham dying and Led Zeppelin like going kaput has a huge influence on this, but there's a little bit of a sag, and the labels were starting to like panic. Now, disco's doing great, soul's doing great, all that.
But that was genre specific.
But rock and pop is sort of having this scary moment. And MTV shows up. MTV and Michael Jackson both happen simultaneously.
Yeah.
Although
Rock With You.
MTV wasn't going to play. No, they didn't play Rock With You. They wouldn't play black artists until Billie Jean.
You heard it here first, folks.
No, this is a matter record.
Right.
So anyway, but when they do they do play the Billie Jean video, and that just changes everything.
Right.
So then MTV made it possible. I'll tell you, as a little kid, the year that MTV came to my hometown, I also became a latchkey kid at the same time.
When you say they came to your hometown,
Meaning we didn't get
the
it
cable
until
channel.
the cable channel.
Okay,
Yes,
I got it.
So perfect timing on my part because I let myself in. I do what little homework I had left, and I just sat with my guitar and watched videos. And by the way, and I told Mike Campbell this, name drop, when I finally got to meet him. It's like those early Tom Petty videos. They're just miming the record.
Yeah.
And there'd just be a wide shot on Mike playing. And I could learn it, or
A refugee. Yeah.
just watch. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and I'd count the dots, do the thing.
So this is like 80s. This is literally
very early 80s.
Yeah.
But I'm also seeing, I'd never seen anybody that looked like Boy George
Yeah,
or the guys from
right.
Duran Duran before.
Right.
So I'm just seeing all these influences from all over the world, and it was very exhilarating. So yeah, so MTV in the 80s expands who was allowed in the club.
Right. Expands pop culture.
I
as a
mean,
whole.
and it really does. It starts with, that's also the first time I'd not heard Iron Maiden, but the Run for the Hills video,
Right.
That early Def Leppard stuff, putting on Heartache,
really
great
good,
stuff.
man. And the Scorpions.
And
by
then
the way,
also, but then
forgetting
also,
to go
this
there.
that was the first time I
Well, that's what I mean.
first time I
that's
saw-
all got to be in the next episode.
so
because
that's a
there's
teaser.
so much there.
Twisted Sister, glam metal, all that stuff. Yeah.
No, we're doing all that. We're doing. We're gonna do.
All right, bring your body glitter, everyone. I'll see you guys at the movies.
Get out of here.